Welcome back to Sunrise on the Hill. Political violence isn't only being seen against lawmakers and members of the media. In the past few years, threats against judges have been growing as well. Now, many of them are hoping something can be done to keep them safe.
Joining us now to talk more about judicial safety is the Hill's legal guru, Zach Schonfeld. Zach, good morning to you. How concerned are those within the judiciary about their safety?
They're quite concerned. There's been quite a rise in threats to judges in recent years. Just to give you some numbers, the Marshal Service says in about the last 11 months or so, there have been more than 500 reported threats. That's an increase over the same period last year. And that's a sharp rise from where the numbers were just about a decade ago. So this has been an increasing concern in recent years. There have been a number of cases, both people making social media postings and then some cases where people have actually started to follow through on those threats. So it's been an increasing topic. As one federal judge was briefing reporters on security threats earlier this week, he said that it's on the agenda of every circuit judicial conference across the country right now. So we've seen judges speak out about it a little bit. Also, even Chief Justice John Roberts. He does this year-end report every year. At the end of last year, he got so concerned that he dedicated that report all to talking about judicial security and threats against judges.
I love to put things into historical context, and I just asked Zach about this on the break. You spoke to somebody who did that for you.
That's right. We spoke earlier this week for our newsletter, The Gavel, to two retired judges who had been serving in the 90s and a little bit into the 2000s, and we were asking them about the threat environment. And these are judges who are actually, they're appointed by both presidents from both political parties, and they're speaking out because they're concerned about the threat environment. I spoke to one of these judges who told me, said, there were a few times where the marshals had to show up, and stay outside his house, but he said that was because of a specific case or a specific defendant maybe making a threat. But he told me in his words, we don't have the cultural problem that we do now, which didn't exist only a few decades ago. So this certainly is a rising problem.
You mentioned the report that Chief Justice John Roberts wrote concerning the safety issue. Let's go ahead and put up part of that report. He said attempts to intimidate judges for their rulings and cases are inappropriate and should be vigorously opposed. Public officials certainly have a right to criticize the work of the judiciary, but they should be mindful that intemperance in their statements may prompt dangerous reactions. Obviously, Congress is listening to these concerns. There is money for the judiciary, those SCOTUS judges, but not for the lower courts? Is that right?
That's right. There is a security boost here, $58 million worth, but that is going to protecting executive branch officials and then Supreme Court justices, who, of course, already receive around-the-clock security details. But the CR package, despite that funding boost, it leaves unaddressed broader funding issues that the judiciary has been asking for their security account. Their full-year request is just under $900 million for judges' security. And we've actually we spoke to the Budget Committee chair, who really leads the budget talks for the judiciary and meets with Congress, and they were telling us they're very concerned about a potential shutdown or a CR because it's not going to fully fund this request. It is only the full year appropriations bill working its way through the House that actually has the full security funding. So funding is a big aspect here too, and the judiciary is very concerned.
Are they also worried that people may choose not to be judges in the future?
I haven't heard too much of that, but it certainly, is a potential concern. As I especially speaking to these retired judges, they believe the republic is essentially on the line here because they say if you don't have courts, if you don't have judges who feel, able to do their jobs without fear or favor, that the rule of law is going to go away. Now, one common theme as I'm talking to everyone in this is they say even though there's a high threat environment, there's a lot of threats going against judges right now, everyone seems very confident that judges right now are still doing their jobs and are not letting the threats, deter their work in any way, but it's still a concern.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears. We know the crime crackdown is over. Guard is still here, though. D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab filed that lawsuit several weeks ago. What's the latest?
Yeah, we're actually just hours away now from the first hearing in that lawsuit challenging the president's use of the National Guard. Now, of course, the D.C. Attorney General, his goal here is to eventually block that National Guard deployment. We don't really expect a ruling on that quite yet today. Instead, this first hearing is going to be about discovery. The D.C. Attorney General wants to get various documents from the administration. They also want to take a few depositions of various people, too. So the judge is set to hear those arguments and potentially rule as soon as today as to whether those depositions will happen.
Well, that'll be interesting. Zach, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Zach Schonfeld, our legal guru here at The Hill. By the way, you can read all of Zach's reporting at thehill.com. This week's edition of The Gavel out now.